Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about these new lights that I got that you can see right behind me here, the TL-60s by Godox. I know that these lights aren't exactly new to the market, but they're new to me. And I've never owned a set of tube lights before. I've always just owned LEDs like Aperture 120D as well as LED panels. And that for the most part has done the job for me. A lot of what I shoot is corporate film. And so typically you go into a space and you're just trying to make it feel natural. You're not really needing like RGB lights or anything like that. But I decided I was in the market to get some more lights. And I just thought, hey, I might as well get something with a little bit extra capability for those one-off projects where I do need a little bit more flexibility with the color of light, as well as some lighting effects and that sort of thing. And these were in the same price range as the LED panels that I was going to buy anyway. And they had a pretty similar CRI value, so they're very color accurate. And so I figured, hey, we might as well get some extra bells and whistles in with the package if we're going to be spending the same amount of money anyway. And so I want to talk a little bit about these lights and what they're capable of and why they're useful. There's a reason why a light like this would be a little bit more appealing than just a regular LED panel with bicolor or something like that. And the reason is, for one, you can use them as practical lights, like what I have in this scene here. Obviously not every scene is gonna call for that, not every shot that's gonna work, but it's a lot more acceptable than having an LED panel in frame. You can just kind of sneak it into backgrounds a little bit easier. It's just a bit more of like a visually appealing light to look at. It looks like it's a little bit more natural, like it could be, you know, like a fluorescent tube or something like that. And so as a viewer, we're gonna accept it as a practical light a little bit easier than if we were to see, you know, a lighting panel or an Aperture 120D or something like that in frame. And so that is a huge win. We can actually put this light in our shots and have it at the angle that we wanted and all of that without having to worry about having it in frame. The other piece is over just having like a bicolor LED or something like that. Like I said, there's some lighting effects, some different kind of RGB settings that you can use with these lights. With these lights, you can actually dial in any color that you want pretty much. And you can also have access to some lighting effects that are preloaded in there, such as strobe lights and campfire and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna go a little bit more into detail about all of those pieces right now. First of all, you can buy these lights on Amazon for just over $600. If I was to buy like an Aperture LED panel, like an Amaran LED panel, typically that would come in around the $250 range for not even getting bicolor. That's the lights that you are just have daylight balanced and you can put different filters in and stuff like that, but you don't even get the flexibility of having bicolor and choosing your color temperature on them. Those are like the bare bones LED panels. And so something like this offers a lot more value within that same price range. These lights have 3 different modes that they can function in. One is CCT, one is HSL/RGB, and the other is its special effects. Under CCT, we can dial in any color temperature that we want. These lights have a 98% CRI value, and so they're pretty dang color accurate. Yes, there are lights that are better, but that's pretty darn close. 98 is pretty good considering the price range of these lights, and so no complaints there. You also have a dimming control where you can dial in the intensity of light that you want, just using a percentage value, and this is true across all the different settings that they have. Moving on to HSL/RGB, here you can dial in particular light colors. So you can dial in your hue as well as your saturation that you're wanting. So you can basically pick any color that you want and any level of saturation that you want. So this is really, really cool. You can dial in a particular scene to be exactly what you want it to be. If you're trying to dial in a particular color on the LCD on the light itself or through the remote, you can kind of basically just do this by adjusting the hue values and then the saturation values to dial in whatever kind of levels that you want there. But the better way to do it is you can actually download an app for Godox and you can custom adjust the colors there. You can use a color wheel or kind of RGB values, and you can dial in a very specific lighting color that you want. If you're using the remote or the app, you can very quickly have access to a couple presets that they have. On the remote, you'll just see some colored buttons that you can choose from between like red and green and cyan and just these different colors that they have. But then if you're in the app, then it's kind of referred to as gels, the same way as if you had a regular daylight light, you would put gels over top of it, same kind of concept there. And so they just have some quick kind of gels that you can dial in and get like a cyan tone or a red tone or whatever you want. And so that's a really quick way to get some different color lighting options out of these lights. The next setting is our special effects. And this is a really, really cool aspect of these lights is there's a few different special effects that you can choose from and utilize with these lights. A couple of these include like a candle or a campfire, a lightning storm. We can make it kind of look like an ambulance, some sort of like emergency vehicle as well. And so this is really cool. Instead of having to try to reproduce these kind of like lighting scenarios through multiple different lights and having someone turning them on and off and all of that, you can actually just have these pre-programmed settings in this light, and you can just pop over to that setting and it'll replicate that lighting effect for you. And so this just, if you're a one-man crew or a very small crew, this just takes some work, some different kind of positions out of the ring, right? Like you don't have to have people dedicated to specific lights, operating them and dimming them and brightening them and, you know, turning them on and off and changing colors and stuff like that. You don't have to deal with that. This light just takes care of it for you. And so definitely very, very helpful if you're running a small crew, small production size. The last piece that I already touched on a little bit is the connectivity. Being able to use a remote as well as being able to use the app. The Godox app is huge. These lights connect via Wi-Fi and via Bluetooth, which is very, very helpful. So on my phone, I can literally just have my Bluetooth turned on and I can easily access these lights. I don't have to go through Wi-Fi settings and make sure I'm on a specific network or anything like that. It'll just automatically connect. It's super fast, works every time. I've had zero issues with it. And so that's awesome, just a breeze to use. You can easily go in and you can create different kind of like setups, different like studios, and be able to have like different lights that are connected. And so this is great. You know, if you have a particular studio setup with some lights and then you have like a different kit that you take on set, then you can have those kind of like already dialed in, have those lights connected, and have them grouped specific ways. And it's super helpful in that way. You can have lights that are grouped together. So if you change something on that group, it will change all of them together. Or you can dial in lights to be in specific different groups so that you can individually adjust them and have them doing different settings and different things. And so this is very, very useful. The last piece is that these also have the capability to be hooked up to DMX. And so if you're working with some sort of scenario or crew or facility where they have DMX control or you're needing that, these lights are equipped with that. And so that is really huge as well. If you're doing anything as far as like live performance or anything like that, these lights can be thrown in with the current lighting setup as long as they have DMX capability. And so that's really big. Obviously, you're not going to use that in every single scenario, but when you do need it, it is very helpful to have that extra level of control. All right, that is it for me. Hopefully that gives you a brief overview of what these lights are all about and where and what scenarios they would be useful in. I think they're a great addition to my lighting kit. They aren't necessarily my A lights that I go to. Usually I would, you know, for my key lights and fill lights and stuff like that, I'm using something a little bit more diffused, like a 120D with a softbox or bouncing it or whatever that looks like, just like I have in this scenario. The 120D is actually bouncing off the wall and lighting me from this direction, providing the key light. But these are great additions to the scene, right? We have them in the background. They look great. They're providing some backlight for me. And that's exactly what they're perfect for, is just those added touches inside of a scene. I would use them as background lights. I would use them as backlights or hair lights. I think they are perfect for that. These wouldn't be like the first purchase that I would make if you're getting lights, but these would be like the second or third purchase that I would get to kind of reinforce the other lights that you already have to work with. If you want to pick yourself up a pair of these lights, I think they sell them in sets of 1, 2, and 4. I'll leave links below to them in the description, so if you want to check them out, you can. Otherwise, if you like this video, go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.